And we are live.
Thanks, Dave. I only have one issue here as the chair, in that I can't see anyone's face.
I can see you, but that's all I can see.
Yes, so I don't know what's going on here.
Sorry, Chair. I just have my camera off right now.
Yeah, I don't see anyone's face. Sorry, everyone. I have to get some help. I'm on a different piece of equipment here in a different office. Video, that's all.
She's off still.
She's got it off. Okay.
Yeah, so once their cameras turn on,
Yep, that'll
then
be
you
fine.
should be able to see. And so that's all right up.
Okay, we're live again.
Okay, thank you. Call the meeting to order. And our first item on here is adoption of the minutes of the meeting held April the 16th, 2026. Moved by Brian, seconded by
I can second it.
Sam. Any errors or omissions or corrections that you noticed in the minutes? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. A mover.
I'll move that.
By Brian, seconded by
I can also second.
Sam. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. None noted. Delegations and presentations, with the first item is HPP funded services, and it's Ellis Ziegler, Supervisor of Affordable Housing for County of Prince Edward. Ziegler has a presentation. So please go ahead, Ellis.
Yes, I'm just going to open this now. All of a sudden, I got booted out of the Zoom when we live streamed, and my I just need to bring up the PDF if it will let me, because I can't get into the presentation that I did. Wow. Is it possible to share the screen at your end of the agenda package? Because my system is now completely inoperable. I'm working from my phone.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
God, I miss in-camera in life meetings.
Dave, is this something you do?
Anybody can do it if they have the agenda up. I do not have it up, so I can do that.
Ellis, I think I have a copy of your presentation. I'll just look really quickly, and if I do, I'll share it. 1 moment.
Oh, yeah. I'll try and get it up in the meantime also.
Thanks, Beth.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I might be able to do it. Hold on. Let's see who can do it quicker. Wow. It's like my system was possessed. I've never seen that before. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to share my screen, Ellis, or are you getting it?
No, apparently not. If we can share the screen, your screen, that would be great.
I will, and then if you just want to give me a cue when you want your slides changed.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Again, thanks again for having me. I'm the Affordable Housing Supervisor for the county's Housing Department, and I'm just going to go do an overview of the Palace HPP funded services in the context of of our housing department at the municipality. Go to the next slide. You can see I'm going to just touch on a few things, and I've provided some public and sort of education information just for your information, and then I'll go into detail about the HPP funded services. Next slide. The county's first housing plan in 2023 effectively added a new suite of supports offered to county residents, and spun off any number of things in terms of direct service and support to affordable housing supply. The department supports the Affordable Housing Corporation, as well as private and nonprofit developers who are trying to get rental housing built in Prince Edward County. Next slide. Wanted to show you this information. We've been keeping track, doing point-in-time counts since 2019, but one of the things that HPP Funded Services has resulted in is an online database, which in this context provides quarterly market reports based on the rental housing stock, that information that we've accumulated. And you can see just graphically that where real estate values have gone back down to pre-pandemic levels, that's not so much the case with rental housing. And the two lines on the median market rents on the right-hand side, you can see studios and one bedrooms are actually neck and neck in cost right now. That fluctuates a little bit quarterly, but it's definitely a trend that we have not seen before. Next slide. This one we used to show what, according to CMHC, 30% of income going toward being able to maintain housing equates to. So on the left-hand side, it starts with sort of the smallest amount of fixed income available, being OW, and what the rent should be based on that 30% ratio, right up to how much you need for to afford an average one-bedroom apartment right now for a single person. And these are all single people across the board. And you can see the second to last column is the median income for a single person household, and that's what the federal government seems to be concentrating more on these days, is median household income rather than market rents, and then extrapolating the rent from that. But in short, a single person median income in Prince Edward County makes half of what's required to rent a one bedroom. So 50% of the Prince Edward County population can't even afford that. Next slide. In terms of housing issues, Prince Edward County experiences what so many smaller municipalities have in terms of being able to get rental housing built, and having a lot to do with senior level government support. Per unit cost of rental housing is the same whether you're building a market rent or an affordable rent. So something has to effectively fill that funding gap. But right now we're looking at 400 rental housing units in the development pipeline, 270 of which are affordable, but that only meets 20% of the county housing plan's target of 1,350 and 150 new social housing units. Next slide. So the homeless prevention program through Palace funded two things in 2024. One is the housing access and stabilization or housing help services, and the other is transitional housing. So I'll go into a little bit more of what that means in the next slide, please. The housing help services has accomplished any number of things, which we're very pleased about. We have dedicated staff that's accessible to residents for information, advocacy, and mediation. County resources able to provide on the county's website 4 different modules of information for people, from housing options, supports, and support to landlords and developers. And then we have the online registry. That image there is a screenshot of it. That database that I mentioned, HPP has been able to fund both the creation of the registry and the housing help coordinators' time in inputting that information. This is a housing list that's searchable and sortable and available to any county resident. And then that same data goes into our market data reports, which we do quarterly. And then the other thing we do, to a lesser extent, it's harder to talk landlords into this, but proactive help to keep residents housed through mediation directly to property owners with the intent of reducing LTB applications. Next slide, please. In terms of housing help, since we were started in April-ish 2024, we've helped 90 households annually. Supports include housing access and applications and eviction prevention, work with other county departments and 12 local agencies. This I think came up at a previous Palace meeting. We've been working with the property standards bylaw staff here to deal with what we think are about 50 illegal dwellings in Prince Edward County. And we're just now launching the rental housing information survey. So in 2018, the municipality conducted a survey and compared the number of units apples to apples with how CMHC defines rental housing stock for determining vacancy. So we're doing that as well, but we're also adding on any other housing situation that they didn't originally include in their definition. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have some really good, accurate data. When that survey was done in 2018, the count was 815 rental units, and we're currently sitting at about 700 units in the database. So it'll be very interesting to see what we end up with by the end of the year. We also work with the Quinte Region Landlord Association to get information back and forth, and encourage the landlords, member landlords in that association who have units in Prince Edward County to contact us to stabilize tenancies. We also do public education through workshops and working with community agencies like Prince Edward Learning Center. Next slide, please. Leeward House. Leeward House, the transitional housing facility, was created as a output of a motion made by council in 2023 to find an immediate solution to homelessness, and fortunately, Palace and HPP made that happen. A private sector owner, Base 31, also purchased that facility, the Maples, which is pictured there, for the sole purpose of creating the transitional housing facility. So we have a 10-unit facility with staff that are there during the day and help during the weekday and help people with their income, housing, and action goals. I can go into more detail about how it works, but the residents agreed to lead their action plan, including their accommodation fees. So we do direct pay of a fixed benefits like Ontario Works and ODSP, and otherwise they pay 30% of their income. They also participate in the communal environment, residence meetings, tour schedules, and things like that. And we also help hook the residents up with service coordination opportunities, either workshops delivered actually at the facility or by getting folks to the services that they need. Next slide, please. In the first year of operation, we housed 16 formerly homeless residents, including the superintendent that we had at the time. 2 residents moved into subsidized housing. One was a senior, I believe, moved to a seniors housing in Napanee. One resident with mental health and active addiction issues has found a job, obtained a driver's license, got his car, and is paying child support and seeing his kids. So that it was a kind of a phenomenal growth on his part, but he was ready, and the environment provided that opportunity. One resident has maintained stable housing for the first time in 7 years. That person came to us actually through Next Step Housing Connections, and they'd been previous to 2024, had not been homeless much of the prior 5 years. So he's now looking after his health and trying to get on track. The participants, the residents participate in weekly meetings and also help out with outside projects and regular maintenance. And of course, the challenges to Leeward House is that with 70% of residents on fixed income social assistance in particular, trying to find any kind of housing that they could possibly afford is the kicker. So if they are able to increase their income on their own, that's great. They're also all on the buy name list and have applied to, gone through the process in terms of the rent supplement program. Transportation is a bit of an issue as there are 3 residents who drive. Everyone else does not have a vehicle, but we're trying to work with Quinte Transit on that. And the aging facility, as we turned out, continues to present some challenges in terms of just regular maintenance, but otherwise it's pretty sturdy. Next slide, please. Oh, wow, that's it. As usual, talked way too fast, but if you would like contact information, the Housing Help coordinator emails Housing Help and Leeward House both at pecounty.on.ca. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
That was a great presentation. Yes, Brian, go ahead.
Yes, through your chair. You'd mentioned in your transitional housings at the Leeward House that you have staffing there in the daytime. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And do you know what the cost is to have them staffed in the daytime like that?
Well, it's not cheap, that's for sure. I mean, it's closer to well, 80,000 a year ish. It is partially subsidized at the moment, sort of by the greater pool of the municipal budget payroll system, although it's more and more being less reliant on that. But all in all, it works out to about $60 a day for the cost of the HPP and the municipal funds together to maintain those residents in their homes.
So how many staff would you have at that particular place?
Just one.
Just one staff person?
Yeah.
Okay. And that one staff person looks after the 10 units, is that correct?
Yep. They schedule the residents meetings, meet with the residents individually in terms of their action plans, attends to just the ongoing daily maintenance. We did actually have a live-in superintendent there, who was not being paid. They were living there without paying accommodation fee. That was kind of the exchange. That person moved out, and I personally think that with the right person, it's a good solution to have someone on site.
If you can get the
who
right
can be
person.
supportive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's right. Yes, Alice, I have a question on the staffing person. So what type of qualifications, like, is this a person that's like works in social services normally, or are they just someone that's there helping them out, like general sort of supervision?
Well, when we'd hired in qualification wise, we were looking for someone with a social service background. It didn't necessarily need to be academic. The person that we ended up hiring had previous work in community development and food security. So I don't know, like it's not a clinical set qualification at all. I honestly, I don't think that would be helpful for a lot of reasons, but having someone there that from more an informal skill set, I think is useful to meet people where they're at.
Okay, I understand now what you're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Anyone else? Does Sam have any questions? No.
Not
Okay.
on this one. Ellis has
Not
to
on this.
deal with me on a daily basis. So
I
I'm
was
a little quieter for them.
okay. It was a great presentation. Like Alice, I found that like all the slides are informative. The one where you have the horizontal, I'm going to say illustration from that has the monthly income range from sort of minimum to maximum, and then the rent that is affordable based on that. I found that actually very easy to understand, and it certainly explained a lot of things in one illustration quite well. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We developed that with the County Foundation a couple of years ago. I think we had a teeny tiny summit through Municipal Affairs and Housing. I think it was last year. And yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, there's a lot of misinformation in terms of what people can afford. And, it's 2026 and people still think that if you're on Ontario Works, that, your rent is covered, and that's not the case. And certainly with growing populations or the aging population, there's a huge impact. I mean, we know about, income and housing, but we trot that image out a lot.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions for Ellis? No. Okay. So can we have a motion just to receive Ellis's presentation? Moved by Brian, seconded by Brad. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you very much again, Ellis.
Yeah. Thank you
Appreciate
for the
it.
opportunity. Yeah. Take care. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to matters for consideration. The first item on the agenda is HPP 2026-7 allocation and investment plan. And Scott, we will turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good morning to everyone. We did finally receive notice that we will be receiving homeless prevention program funding. This is funding that is goes from April 1st of this year to March 31st next year. I think one of the surprises and disappointments is that it's the same amount of funding, and the province is kind of saying homelessness is about the same as it was in 2023, so you don't need any more funding, but at least we didn't get a cut in funding. So anyway, we now have it. One of the odd parts about this, and this happened last year, so we received information June 5th that we were going to receive the money, and on June 8th, they said we need your investment plan by June 26th. Deadline for committee reports is June 1st. So me and the team here haven't even met to discuss the allocation. We're doing that tomorrow. So we will be submitting our allocation plan without committee approval, but you will see that in September. And in September, if changes need to be made, there's still lots of time to do that.
Okay.
And just homelessness prevention program, just a reminder. So we fund our transitional housing, homeless prevention benefits, so like rent arrears, utility disconnects, and then a bunch of community supports, including outreach, addictions, and actually we provide about a little over, I think it's about $153,000 to support Leeward House as well, and other activities.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. Do you have any questions for Scott on this item? Go ahead, Sam.
Hi, Scott. It's great
morning.
that morning. How are you? Before I
Good.
dive right in, because we're going to see a lot of you. So, my first question is, well, one, you answered my first question, which was I thought it was at par. So thank you for letting us know that it is at par, and that was the budget estimate that we made back in February was based on par, correct?
Yes.
And has there been any changes now that we've had a little bit more time to more equally distribute the funding between the municipalities based on the funding allotment? Specifically, do you have an update if you will be moving forward with the Alternatives for Women's project in Prince Edward County?
Well, yes. So the Alternatives for Women project and all that funding was allocating last year's funding. Funding
Okay.
that went from April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026. And I'm actually happy to report I was at a meeting yesterday and talking to Julie Watson, who's the executive director of Alternatives. They've hired a staff person and are moving forward with creating 6 new transitional units there, which will be awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
That's a nice update to hear.
Yes.
Any other questions for Scott on this one? No, I don't see any. So there is a recommendation, a staff recommendation here at the start of this agenda item. Do we have a mover for that? Moved by Sam, seconded by Brian. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We lost Brad, it looks like. Okay, we'll move on to item 2, HPP funding decision.
We
And this-
wouldn't have quorum.
Oh, no, we don't. Right. Yeah, Brad dropped out.
Message him.
That last vote too, we didn't have quorum. I'm not sure
If I may make a suggestion, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Items, I'm just quickly looking, items 3 and 4 are just kind of information, and the only resolution would be to accept that. So if you want to progress with a couple of other reports while we wait for Brad to rejoin us, I'm not sure what you want to do.
Yes. Is anyone able to try to reach Brad?
I messaged him, but I'm not getting any answer yet.
Yeah. So I think we just have to wait a couple minutes before proceed. It would be hopeful that he's able to rejoin. Hopefully it's just a technical issue. Yeah.
He says my computer screwed up.
Oh, is that what he's saying? Okay. I can relate to that.
Seems to be a technical difficulty sort of day.
Okay, let's just hang on for a minute. For anyone who's watching live streaming, we're just on hold for a few minutes waiting for one of our members to rejoin. Beth, I have a question for you procedurally. is it up to the chair to determine how long? I'm not in a rush, but in terms of this, how long do we
Yeah,
need to
I
wait?
would say so. I mean, I would give them 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm
See,
not.
yeah,
Okay.
because we can't really, we can't proceed without quorum anyway. So, yeah, hopefully he can get back online quickly.
Yes. Yeah, I know that Scott brought that up, but I don't want to proceed with any of the agenda without quorum.
No, no.
No, I don't think we can even do the note and receive ones without quorum, to be truthful.
That's
No, we
correct.
can't. We can't do anything without it. No.
So are we still live feed now, are we?
Yes, I believe we are. Yes.
Sorry, I'm just working on stopping that right now. I'm
Okay.
going to share my screen and I'm going to stop the feed.
Okay.
Worked.
Just an update, Brad's trying another computer.
Thank you.
Did I mention that I really love in-person meetings?
Okay, we are live.
Thank you. Yes, I'm looking for Brad is there we are. Can you hear us, Brad?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes. Glad to see you
Sorry
back.
about that. My computer,
Yeah.
I don't know, died or something. So sorry.
No need to apologize. We all have those issues once in a while, so completely understand. Okay, so we're on just starting the agenda item under matters for consideration. Item 2, which was which is HPP funding, and Lynn Chenier, the director, is Lynn. Are you there? There you are.
I am here.
Sorry, just one point of
Yes.
order, Chair. Should we re-vote on the last homelessness prevention item?
Oh, yes, you have a point. Yes.
Thank you.
We will do that, Brad, and because you had left before that. We had a motion on the floor that we had voted on and then realized you'd left, and that was for the item 1, and it was to approve the staff recommendations that they had at the front of that report. So I'll ask for that vote again. All in favor?
I did have one. I had moved that earlier, but I did have one quick question. So in September, when this comes back, we will be able to make changes, or if necessary, because it's being done without the consent of the committee. Is that correct?
Yeah. Scott, go ahead.
Yes,
Scott, yeah.
Mr. Chair, through you to the rest of the committee, yes, that's correct. And in fact, I actually can't recall a time when it didn't happen where staff submitted it and it was approved later. Like last year, I don't know why I remember these dates, but it was like we got approval July 18th, and by like August 2nd, we had to submit an investment plan. Like the province was lucky there was enough staff here to make the decision. But yeah, there's lots of flexibility. We have until October 31st or November 30th to make changes. So there'll be lots of time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, we'll just start over with that one. Can we have a mover? Brian, second by Sam. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, now we move on to HPP funding decision, and we'll turn it over to Lynn.
Thank you, Chair. This report was in response to a letter received from the town of Greater Napanee from the mayor. So it goes through the process that we follow in terms of how the homelessness prevention plan dollars are broken down. There was increases to housing assistance because of the need of the residents of Prince Edward County and Lennox and Addington. As part of the expression of interest funding requests, there was approximately available $1.1 million available to provide to community partners. As previously reported, we received 16 applications from 11 community partners for a total request of just over $1.4 million. And because the request exceeded available funding, staff evaluated the submissions to ensure the public funds were used effectively and in alignment with the HPP guidelines. So a staff report was provided in February at the meeting of PELIS committee. The report did not identify submissions not being recommended for funding. Specifically, the report did not identify that Youth Hub was not recommended for funding due to the sensitive nature of the submission, which was tied to staffing. A team of 3 staff reviewed each of the expressions of interest submitted to ensure that they aligned with community priorities, services that filled gaps not provided by PELIS. We demonstrated outcomes and value for money and ensuring equitable distribution between both counties. And so the rationale for not funding Youth Hub's landlord liaison program was that there's similar roles being funded in both Prince Edward County and Lennox and Addington, with the landlord liaison position in Prince Edward County and the community development worker in Lennox and Addington. And it was also an overlap with PELIS staff and services that we offer in terms of assisting people to find housing and referrals and transitional housing, etc. And I'd be more than happy to provide any or answer any questions that committee may have.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Any members of the committee have questions for Lynn? Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Hi, Lynn. Great to see you again.
Thank you. It's nice to see you.
And my first question was the service delivery for Youth Hub and their positions needed, has this been a declining year over year that their service delivery is starting to show, or has this been the first year that it didn't meet quite the funding?
It was the first year that it didn't quite meet the funding in terms of it was assisting a lot more people that based on their criteria. So the LICO program, not necessarily people who were included on the by names list and being precariously housed. So when the program was initially created, it was really targeted to meet the needs of people on the by name list and support those people, as well as very low income precariously housed residents. So it was kind of a duplication in terms of what PELIS staff were already providing, but the intent was to really focus on people on the by names list and the services that they needed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Lynn?
I have a few,
Yeah, Sam,
but
go ahead.
Brian can go first.
No, I just want to say it was a great presentation, and it made sense, and it is great to see you back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sam, did you have another question?
I do. I have two more, if
Okay.
that's
go
okay.
ahead. Yes.
My other question is, since there are, like, as you pointed out, there is an overlap in services, has Pellis been able to reach out and explain this to Youth Hub and maybe give them contact or the contact information or first line of, or fill in information about where these services are being overlapped? And, like, for example, you said the landlord liaison with Prince Edward County. Have they had an opportunity to get in touch so that even though financially they might not be receiving these services, they still have access so that the quality of the work isn't being limited?
Prior to the recommendations being that were presented to Pellis Committee, the staff did reach out to Youth Hub staff and have that discussion.
Okay, perfect. That's great to know. Just because if we're going to, I think if we are going to make decisions based on service overlap, it's a great opportunity for us to get out and market a little bit more about funding that we are doing. My last one is, I guess, not quite a question for Lynn, but more of a statement and a potential motion for the committee. One is that I think I'd like to see a potentially a closed session that we can chat about all the applications, the ones that did make it, the ones that didn't, if funding was moved around in different directions. I think that's really important for the committee to know we are the ones approving the funds, and that for us to have a deep level of understanding on the who, the why, and the how those decisions were made. I think just for clarity's sake, we are the faces of, of this board, and if we're getting asked the tough questions, it'd be nice to be able to understand what we can answer, what we can't answer, what's public, what's not, and have a better understanding about how these funds are getting divvied up. So if that needs a motion for us to be, that the next time the HPP budget comes around, that there'd be if needed, a closed information session, because obviously I understand some of this information is confidential and sensitive, then I would like to make that.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Sam. So we could split these. Let's split them apart. If we can deal with this presentation, and if there's no other questions on it, we could have a motion to receive this report, and then Sam, we can go to your new one. Is that okay with you, Sam? Yep. Okay, we have motion to receive this report, moved by Brian, I believe, seconded by
Yes.
Brad. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So then we could have, I have one question for, and maybe Lynn, just before we make this motion. Can I ask the second one that Sam's bringing up? Do you have any comments on that, Lynn, in terms of sort of the best forum? Would it be in a closed meeting if we want to have that discussion? And is this committee part? The question is, how can we be part of it? Is it through a closed meeting discussion?
I would recommend a closed meeting discussion, only because a lot of the positions or expressions of interest are tied to staffing, and really to be respectful of the community partner, they should be the one, delivering that message to their staff, and not being put out there in a public forum. And we did do a poll of other municipalities in the area, and it really is all over the map. Some take them to committee and some don't. So we're perfectly fine to do whichever committee wants us to do.
Well, and the thing is, if this motion, if a resolution is made here to go in that direction, we can try it 1 year, right? And see how it works. And then we'll know after that as to. Okay, so I'll turn it back to you, Sam, because so did you want to articulate your motion any further?
No, I think it's pretty clear that it's just have a closed, preferably a closed session meeting to discuss the HPP funding allocations and more in detail
Right.
before a decision is made.
So we have a mover, seconded by Brian.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, Sam. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you. Beth, you're okay? You got the wording? Yes.
Yep, we're all good on this end. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on this motion? No. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Yeah, and just a quick comment. Yes, we'll move on to the next item. But Linda, it's nice to see you back. See your smiling face and your contribution.
Nice. Thank you so much. It's nice to be back.
Great. Okay, we move on to item 3 in matters for consideration, the housing and homelessness plan progress, and we'll turn this over to Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is just an update just to let you know where we are as we're moving along with this. So the housing needs assessment piece should be finished or should have a draft this week. And the plan is to have a draft of the complete report of the housing and homelessness plan by the end of June, early July. And one of the things that's necessary is we have to submit this to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing and they have 45 days to review it. And I should back up in that every year we have to provide an update about our housing and homelessness plan. And the province says, we need 45 days to review it. And I guess they take 45 days, but nothing ever changes. However, when the directions from the province to create a new housing and homelessness plan, they provided about 2 pages of bullet points about things that they would like us to consider. And there are some service managers that have completed their housing and homelessness plan, submitted it to the province, and have got quite a lengthy letter of recommendations of information to insert. So we thought rather than bringing you a version of the plan that hasn't been critiqued by the ministry, we'd bring one to you in September, and then the ministry can critique it. We can add those comments from the ministry, and then bring the committee sort of a pretty polished draft that could still be open to change. But then you've got more, rather than committee approving something and then we send it to the ministry and we've got to bring it back to committee with all the changes. So those are the next steps. And I really like, if you've read the 5 gaps that were identified, that's been pretty good. We've had 7 town halls meetings, 3 stakeholder meetings, got a number of surveys, and have had a number of surveys completed with Pella staff and other community support staff, talking to people with lived experience that have had housing and affordability and homelessness issues.
Thank you, Scott. I had a question, and then it relates to so after this comes back from the ministry and those updates are made, when it comes to the Palace committee in September, and if we have, it's 2 reasons, I guess. One is for information, but if we have some input or comments on it that would possibly change its content, is there still opportunity then to make those changes?
Definitely. That's one of the key reasons to have this process in place, is that we'll be able to incorporate whatever changes or updates or recommendations the ministry would like us to implement, so that when committee sees it, if I don't want committee to see it, say, yeah, that's a great report. We give it to the ministry, then we have to come back and say, yeah, these 7 things were identified. And the recommendations, United Counties of Leeds and Grenville. They submitted theirs and the housing manager was kind enough to share the comments. It's more just, you know, when you use this word, can you use more like, make sure you call subsidized housing community housing, because that's what we like to call it. So some of them were there and some of them just emphasize current provincial priorities.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead,
And,
Brad.
sorry, further, Tony, when we submit it to the ministry, we'll be letting them know that this is a draft and that committee hasn't reviewed it. And then prospectively in the September meeting, if committee approves it, then we will be submitting our final version to the ministry
Okay.
with lots of opportunity to make changes at that point.
Thank you. Brad, do you believe you had a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Just on the 5 gaps identified, Scott, are we doing any, like, I know we are, but what are we doing to address those 5 gaps? Is there something that we're doing right now to address those?
Yeah, we're addressing all of them at some level. And the housing and homelessness plan, we've been telling people this in our meetings. It's not going to be this plan is written and now everybody has affordable housing and homelessness is solved. But it'll kind of point us in what directions we should be going. So, what the gap 1, need for additional rental housing stock there, and we're looking at that. Pellis is planning to build a 12-plex in Loyalist Township in Bath. But part of that is just how do we maintain the existing stock? Let's not lose any. That's a big piece of that puzzle too. So we have been making progress on every one of those items, but it's just kind of like, here's an identified gap. What are our strategies to create more additional housing? What is our strategy to create more support services for people in need of those services? So that's what we're looking at.
Can I have a quick follow-up?
Yes, go ahead, Brad.
Okay, I knew we were looking at or addressing them. So I guess some of that too would go to getting additional funding to get more housing stock. Let's just say, just for number 1, we'd have to try and get more funding from upper levels of government to kind of help that. And do you see anything coming in the way that we could try to get more funding?
Sure, yes, Mr. Chair, through you to Brad and the council and the rest of the committee. Yes, so for the last 25 years, CMHC has been the place to go to get funding to build affordable housing. The federal government created a new corporation called Build Canada Homes. And I guess we're still all trying to figure out how to access funding from there, but that would be a place to go. And occasionally the province, usually in concert with the federal government, will come up with a program. They've had programs before where, you can get $150,000 per unit to create new housing, or more recently, it was up to $225,000 to create a new affordable housing unit. So whatever strategy, there will be lots of comments in the housing and homelessness plan that talks about advocating to provincial and federal governments or pursuing funding there, but it can't be all that. Otherwise, all you're doing is nothing locally and waiting for a provincial or federal government to spill out and then try to get funding. And recognizing that Pellis has about 0.5% of the population of Ontario. So if there's a program that had $100 million to create new housing provincially, we would get $500,000. So, it's kind of like, there you go, build away. So we're looking at other strategies where we could maybe fund some housing development ourselves within just the service manager area.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, go ahead, Sam.
Thanks, Chair. My question kind of lands in one, I'm a little, I don't know if it's disappointed or a little surprised that all the gaps, like that were on the 5 gaps that were identified, kind of we already know them. So I don't know if I'm supposed to be impressed that we're ahead of the ball and we have good information, or I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get something new out of all the consultations. So mixed emotions there. But the one that I found really interesting was the big gap. And I've known from some of the work that Ellis has done that there's a large attention need for seniors, but young adults is an interesting category. And I'm wondering, since we were just talking about Youth Hub, is there ways to partner with our existing organizations, I guess, once again, for how do we fund them maybe a little bit better to not also duplicate services that maybe they're already doing extremely well. I also think about the Rock, and the county is a great service delivery provider. So I'm just wondering, is there ways that, once again, that I guess specifically my question is, are we also giving funding to the ones that are already on the front lines also, so that we don't have to fund our own staff to do it?
Yes, we do partner with our community partners, including Youth Hub and including the Rock. We provide some funding to the Rock to deliver some services. And as far as, that's interesting, your comments, Sam, because I was going to say, and if you read the gaps, you probably won't be surprised that they were the same gaps that you could have had 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and 10 years ago. But I think what we were looking for is, so there's going to be strategies we employ to, create more housing, to provide more support. And we just thought if we had these 5 areas, then we could fit where the progress will be made or the efforts that will be made under each of those 5 categories, rather than, if you have 25 categories, it gets confusing. And if you just have one category that says make things better, then it loses its direction a little. But yeah, I would have been shocked if we would have heard something we didn't know. But it was good to get some of the things confirmed. And I think too, some things like, definitely when you look at Prince Edward County with the large number of seniors, that there's going to be an increased pressure and crisis with affordable housing for seniors. Maybe what we didn't know was the pressure that youth are finding, because youth in Prince Edward County, especially with the cost of housing and the tourism industry is accelerating the cost of housing. People are looking, they have decent jobs, but can't leave home to live independently unless they move to Belleville, Napanee, Desirado, but they can't do it in Picton and Wellington. So that was kind of, we know that that's going on all over the place. But the same affordable housing crisis that's hitting seniors is also hitting youth, because it's just more money than they have. So, sorry, I don't know if that answers your question, Sam.
It does. The first part, it does. It does help that. I guess the second part of just also what are specific, I guess, steps being made to ensure that, with this plan, or I guess, what will this plan point out to help aid community partners that maybe already have the connections, to senior, community care for seniors, for example, too. And that this plan doesn't even have to be through funding, but working better to efficiently potentially help with those barriers.
I think some of it will, just so the committee knows, the plan will be great and it'll be awesome, but we aren't sitting around, well, I guess we better not move any needles forward while we sit and wait for this report. So even just look at HPP funding to the community partners. If you go back to 2023, we funded a number of food programs. And as the money's got tighter and as we've sort of set our direction differently, we've funded food programs less because it's like, well, there's other mechanisms to fund those. And we've really kind of narrowed our direction to what we can fund. So I think a continuation of that. I think there'll be stuff like, if we're building a 12-plex in Bath, well, what's next? Keep building. How do you move on the momentum you've already started and created? I look at, for example, we did this homelessness action plan back in 2023. And one of the things the homelessness action plan said was, should meet with all your community partners, get together and talk about improving the system. And we've done that in Lennox and Addington. We have a group of frontline workers that deal with unhoused people, and they're crucial every day, but in particular with the encampment just outside of Napanee, those staff have been going out, talking to people, providing support, getting people to trust us so that that encampment's going to be, dismantled, but in one of the most humane ways we could do it. And that's as a result of that group meeting, and everybody knows everybody. We have a similar group in Prince Edward County that meets, and those are just things that I think will spill out of this report. Sorry, not spill out, that will be directed out of this report, where we can have firm steps where we can make progress. And the report will have a variety of recommendations, including stuff that we can do for free, like improving the networking of community agencies. I know it's staff time, but it's free versus, build a 20-plex. Well, that's a few million. So it'll have a variety of initiatives in there.
Okay, Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, just one more, just that made me think. With this plan, because of the different layering of different free to multi-million-dollar projects, have you considered doing, can't believe I'm referencing the States right now, but like a 100 days in office sort of plan? Like once this plan comes through, almost having like a list of these are kind of 100 items we'd like to get done to show that we are, or not 100 items, it doesn't do that, but in the first 100 days of receiving approval of this plan, these would be our benchmarks to be like, yes, we are successful. Like, yes, we can do these things right away. We are ready. This is what we need, kind of thing, to show the province, I guess, a bit of that. Like you pointed out before, this isn't just a wait and see and wait and, oh, we need your funding to make dreams come true. No, we're boots on the ground and we have these plans in place.
Yes, I think that there will be things that we can action right away. It'd be great. I like your idea of the 100-day plan. However, some of it, we just were informed Monday that we received $2.5 million. And one of the things they've asked us to do is, hey, how much money did you spend in the first quarter, April, May, and June? Well, you let us know June 5th that we got the money. So to have a 100-day plan when you're waiting for funding probably isn't good. There could be a 100-day plan about the either free or low cost initiatives we can activate, and probably a plan like there will be something in there that says something along the lines of get some projects ready. And we've been doing this, get these projects shovel ready. So if there's funding announced, it's like, boom, we've got this project that's already not, there's a program announced. Okay, let's reach out to our member municipalities and see and initiate that discussion. We want to be ahead of that game so that when the funding is announced, we've got an idea, we've got a piece of property, we've got a building design in mind. So I think to have some initiatives like that would be good.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Scott? No, don't see anything. We have a recommendation, staff recommendation that this report be noted and received. We have a mover. Oh, Sam, mover, seconder, Brad. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. On to our next item 4, housing and homelessness highlights. And it's, yeah, a very, very interesting report from Scott.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so an interesting piece is that I started in the role here in January of 2023. This committee had their first meeting in January of 2023 of the people that make up this committee. So I thought I'd put together a little highlight about our journey together and some of the accomplishments. And just that there's 437 units in the LHC is awesome. Transitional housing, it's been one of the I don't know, most one of the programs I'm involved with where the impact of what we're doing has been so significant. Solving homelessness for people with addiction issues, mental health issues, and brain injuries is really tough. And we've been able to do that. And I use the collective we because at no point am I in our transitional housing asking somebody if they're okay and if they need support. We have awesome, excellent staff who do that, but we've been able to do that. I've got some examples here of some of the successes. The final one, the sixth one, there's a person, and I met this guy, by the way, so it touches me, but person who cooks for his roommates, maintains a spotless room, just got a new knee, and is thinking positively about the future. And I could have added here, for the first time in a long time. And this is what happens in our transition of housing. We have people who are, hopeless. They've been living in a tent for 4 years and they've been moved around. They've been told they're no good, and they come into our program and they move on and they have new hope for the future. So that's just an incredibly awesome thing that I think we can provide. And I wanted the committee, one of the things I wanted to do with this report, by the way, this is like my favorite report I've ever delivered to any committee anywhere, because it just talks about cool stuff that we achieved together. But some point today, there's going to be an awesome community outreach person talking to a person in a tent and providing them support and making sure they have food and making sure they're in a good way. And it's directly linked to decisions this committee has made. And I hope you understand that that's happening as a result of the work you've done and the great work you've done. So I do hear this all the time from staff, like, wow, that got approved. Awesome. Can you thank those people for me? So this is my opportunity to thank you. And I know September or October will be the last meeting of this committee before municipal elections. And after 38 years of being in the social housing world, I'm retiring. My last day is probably a week from today. I know Sam's wondering, Scott, who hired you to run housing when you were 10, right? But anyway, I just really want to thank committee. It's been a great time, and really enjoyed working with all of you, and have liked the questions and liked how we've really improved services for the people that need our help so much. So thank you very much.
Yes, Scott, and I know some others may have some comments. When I read this report, it was honestly a very moving report. It really tugged at your heartstrings. It was, it's amazing work that goes on collectively. I'm not touting the committee in any way, but it's the people who are doing the work. All of the people in social services and all the people in all of the other support agencies who may not be part of PELIS. There's tons of them out there tied to it and tied to helping people. Yeah, and making a difference on people's lives. It's very, very important. So, and I know others may say this, but I do have to say certainly I don't know if this committee has any authority to postpone your retirement or not. I really doubt that that's going to go very far.
I was going to bring that up. I not once did we ever vote or approve Scott's retirement, and I'd like to revoke that if possible. Could I get a show of hands for that?
Anyway,
Scott.
Yes, certainly on Scott, on behalf of this committee and all the previous ones, I do want to sincerely thank you for all of the work that you've done in this area. Absolutely, you are like many people, you are one of a kind, and you have your compassion and your passion for and caring for the people, and your ability also to work, I'm going to say, with the senior management and then committees like this is just incredible. So thank you. I'll turn it over to comments or any questions from others. Yes.
No, Chair, I think you summed it up too well. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And thank you. And I really hope you do put the connection that these highlights, that doesn't happen without your support. And, it's all part of a big team with you at the top. And it's great to get the support from Lynn and Brenda, who's, a unique CAO in that she actually is very interested in developing new affordable housing. And that's been a treat as well. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. So we have a motion to receive this report from Scott. Draft here. Recommended. Moved by Sam, seconded by Brian. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And thank you, Scott, for that one. Move on to item 5, which is Kochi, Opie, and Kobe confirmed funding. And this one is Scott, you as well.
Yeah, this is just informing committee about our levels. On May 25th, we got a letter kind of confirming these amounts. So just see, Kochi generally goes to funding repairs and community housing. That's with the units we manage, but also our nonprofit partners, with a little bit of rent supplements that are there. OFI, we pay for rent supplements and interior renovates, but we are aware that our OFI amount will go down as time goes on. And the COB is Canada Ontario Housing Benefits. And those are rent supplements and that we deliver. And I think we've been able to deliver about 65 of those over the maybe 75 over the last 3 years. So this is just another way to help provide affordable housing.
I have a question, Scott, on this. Maybe it's embedded in your report, I don't see it. If this OP funding goes down, one of the elements in that funding, or one thing that's provided, is the Ontario Renovates program. What's the future looking like for that program?
Oh, very good question, because that's definitely something that came up because the housing team is meeting tomorrow morning to talk about this allocation and the homelessness prevention program allocation. But I don't know where the Ontario Renovates program will fit in, because it's definitely a unique program that we do. And I actually like to go out to those people, or out on the inspections and the reviews of those, just because it's a group of people that's low income homeowners that we don't often deal with. But yeah, I don't know what the future will hold for that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm just aware of some of the people. I've met them that are recipients of that, and yeah, they would be, without those, in some cases, minor renovations, they would not be able to stay there. The place would just be unsafe. Yeah.
They would become unhoused, and to look after an unhoused person generally costs quite a bit more than what we would provide them in Ontario
Yes.
Renovates. So it's the cost of the program for the benefits is pretty positive. So it'll be interesting.
Okay, Sam, you had a question? Go ahead.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a quick note on that. Great question, Tony. And one just statement I heard from or Councillor Nyman and I heard from a deputation recently was the Children's Aid Society. And one of the things that they were saying when families are trying to figure out, can they even afford to keep their children in a safe home, is that the Children's Aid Society actually reaches out to Pellis, the ones in Prince Edward, and are knowledgeable of this program. And it is one that helps them not only stay in their homes, but keeps their children. So just like the ripple effect of this program, like you were speaking about, Tony, is so important. So I just wanted to quick note, yay team. I love when I can say, hey, have you reached out to Pellis? And they're like, yeah, of course we were already talking to Pellis. So I love to hear that. My quick question is just, you said there was 8 in the report, 8 new units going to be, I think, created or funded. Where are they?
Oh, we don't know yet. We will be coming to you with the rest. By the way, even if I wasn't retiring, all this stuff that I'm talking about, we're going to bring you in September. We will be bringing you in September. Last year, if you remember, we had to create 8 new units, and we went to 8 households that have been waiting on our waiting list the longest. And some of those have been waiting since 2013, 2014. So that's a possibility of a target area, but staff will talk and we'll come back with a recommendation to you about how we could create those 8 new units.
That's great.
But it so
And
could
by
be a
staff,
variety.
you mean you, right, Scott? Like you got to finish the term with us.
Oh, I would love to finish the term, but I like fishing too much, so I wanted the summer off.
Fair.
But yeah, so staff will be back with a recommendation and target an area. I'm not sure who, but at this point, but we'll know more tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll bring some recommendations to you in September.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Scott on this item? No. So we have a staff recommendation that this presentation or report be noted and received. Mover. Moved by Sam, seconded by Brian. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We'll move on to item 6, which is the Kochi residual allocation funding. And Scott.
Okay. Yes. So this is just an update. There is the province in January, February put out an appeal that said, you can apply for some Kochi residual funding. We did apply, trying to get some funding to do an act of repairs at the former IRCA property. And this is just letting you know we were unsuccessful in getting that funding. But I can let you know that our property services team have been at IRCA for a while, and there's 2 units there that have been vacant for quite a while because they didn't have the funding to rehabilitate them, and we're in the process of doing that. May take a little while because we need, I think, new kitchens in both of them, so we need to order the cabinetry, but we're there getting those units ready, and they're a top priority for our property services team, which, by the way, is pretty awesome of our property services team, rather than, what? You just gave us more work. We'll get to that when we're ready. They actually went up and they recognized the need to get those units ready and get them prepared and rented out to people.
Yes. Thank you, Scott. Yes, comment certainly, because these units are in Addington Highlands, and certainly appreciate the effort staff went to, and that involves some of the very senior staff from the county, to try to get the $80,000 funding. And if you don't try, you'll never know. But anyway, we're unsuccessful, but the effort was still very much worthwhile. We need to do that. So thank you to staff. Any questions on this one? Go ahead, Sam.
Thank you, Tony. My one question was when these emails go out, or sorry, I see it went to Warden Townend. Does it also go to municipal staff or Prince Edward County staff?
I don't think I'm in a position to answer that.
Which
Um,
email?
Oh, sorry, the letter, like the letter that's attached to the document, says that it went to Warden Townen, the priority projects for
All
municipalities.
right.
But it doesn't say that it went, and then it was like seed at the very bottom, Brenda Orchard CAO.
Yes.
I can respond to that.
Can you answer that, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay,
So
cool.
as because the county of Lennox and Addington is the service delivery agent, which has delegated the authority for the management of Pellis to Pellis Committee. The service delivery agent is the one who is notified. And they CC or they email the warden and CC the CAO, and then they forward it on to us.
And
Okay.
and then does it get CC directly to the mayor and our CAO?
No, it does not, because Lennox and Addington County is the service delivery agent.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
so
they-
they would only get to know through this committee then? Is that correct, Lynn? If it was fed back, sort of
Yes.
back feed through it? Okay.
Tony, I can probably help and just sort of tag on to that.
Perfect. Go ahead. Brenda.
Yes, we receive it, but it just immediately goes to Pellis. We don't do anything with it. It goes to Pellis because Pellis is the delivery agent for both counties. So it's just a handover it automatically goes to Lynn, and the director handles it through Pellis.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Great.
That's helpful.
Thank you. Any other questions on this presentation? Don't see any. So there's a staff recommendation that the report be noted and received. Do we have a mover? Brian, seconded by Sam. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So we're now on to the next item, item 7, staffing transitional housing. It's a report by Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, thank you. I think in the last committee meeting, I was asked to go and look at transitional housing that's staffed part-time. And I went and I know a few of these programs around the province, so I reached out and called people I knew. And I must state too that I did because I'm so familiar with Leeward House, I actually I don't have them in here as a model that has been successful, but I contacted these, I think it was 4 or 5 programs that I knew were operating, and they'd all closed down due to difficulties. You know, the one place, I think I had people there, staff person there from 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. Staff would get there at 4 o'clock, go and get all the people to remove their tents that were in the backyard and all the extra guests that were staying there, get them out. And then when they left at 8, at about 8:15, all the tents would be set up again. So it was really difficult for them to manage. Now, you know, when I look at our transitional housing, which I think I've always said is unstaffed, but that's really not accurate. There's no formal set scheduled hours, like from 4 till 8 o'clock. There's staff there almost every day. But you know, our transitional housing would be considered low barrier, where when people move in, they've already done some work, they want to get better, they agree to work with us. Some high barrier programs will take, you know, a person with issues that maybe hasn't set out a plan. You know, Ellis was talking earlier just about, you know, doing planning with people, where a higher barrier will take people without a plan, and those tend to need to be staffed more. You know, we do have people who have active addiction issues, active mental health issues, who have prolonged cognitive disorders, but they have to agree to work with us. We recently had a person move in who had actually had 2 unsuccessful attempts in transitional housing, and they wanted to move back. And we gave them, you have to be receiving actively engaged in addictions treatment for 3 months, mental health treatment for 3 months. Person went and did that, so kind of earn their ability to be there. Just the way they were before that treatment, they wouldn't have, despite that they wanted to move in our transitional housing, they wouldn't have been able to. I've reached out to the Canadian Alliance to End Homelessness to get some information about other programs across the province and across the country where there's maybe some minimal or partial staffing, where they're finding success and just discovering what that's all about. I'll be passing that off to my successor to continue to explore, but that's been my experience so far.
Thank you, Scott. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Okay, thank you through your chair. Scott, I was just like, I'm looking at these numbers and I'm just looking at Ellis's report. I'm trying to figure out how they did it for $80,000 a year with 1 staff looking after 10 units. And they're there every day. I'm trying to get my head around that versus the numbers I'm looking at here. Can you just give a little more clarity as to how they're doing it and why we can't?
Sure. I think Ellis said that the staff person was $80,000. We give Prince Edward County, I think it's $153,000 to fund part of the operations of Leeward House, and Prince Edward County funds the rest of that. Because there's still the cost, the rent for the house, heat, hydro, grass cutting, snow removal, insurance, food. There's all those other costs above the staff costs.
Yeah, but I think he was referring to the staffing. 1 staff to cover the 10 units was $80,000. I realize there's other costs associated with having a unit like that, but I was just trying to figure out why, their staff person's 80,000 and we're talking, 900,000 for an 8-bedroom. I'm just trying to figure that one out. That's where I was trying to go with that. Thank you.
Got it. Councillor Calver, got it. So the 900,000 was counting on, if you're a high barrier facility and you're taking high needs people, it was counting on a minimum of 2 staff on at all times. And it also incorporated the rent for the house and food and other things typically provided in a 24-hour system. So Youth Hab has operated a transitional housing home since 1988. And I used to work there, and the person that runs the home I used to work with, so they were actually kind enough to share their entire budget for the year and for like the last couple of years. And that's what I used. I used a lot of that information to form the proposed budget to run a facility that was staffed all the time. So I guess that's the difference. And the people going to Leeward House that'd be considered a low barrier transitional housing model.
Okay, so our transitional housing we have here in Napanee, that wouldn't be classified as low barrier?
Sorry, am I talking about this? Sorry. Would be a high barrier. We're high barrier. The very first sentence of the report says what a low barrier is, where people aren't necessarily sober or ready for treatment. They're just sort of getting them off the street. And our program and Leeward House would be high barrier. Sorry for the confusion.
Okay, so Leeward House is high barrier as well?
Yeah, similar to.
So are ours here.
Yeah, to put somebody who isn't stating that they're ready to work on their issues, unless there's staff there 24 hours a day, is you're going to really struggle to have those people be successful.
Okay,
It's just too much chaos.
I must have misunderstood Ellis's report. I understood they only had staff there just in the daytime, and they only had 1 staff.
They do.
And if they were high barrier and ours are high barrier, I was just trying to figure out why we have to have more than one staff and why we can't do it part-time.
No. Yep. Okay,
Yep.
sorry. I think I
Sorry about
confused
that.
the issue. So the clients at Leeward House
Yes.
and the clients in our transitional housing are similar in that they're high barrier. The $900,000 model would be a low barrier where we would be, because I think the desire was to somehow find a place for the most disruptive, most visibly homeless people in any of our communities to go. And if you're going to take people like that who,
Yes.
then you need to have staff there, one, to support them, but also to make sure that the other residents are safe from people who have violent tendencies and things like that.
Okay, so that's where your report's coming from. Is that
Yeah.
model? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Sorry for the
No, my
confusion
apologies,
there,
Brian. I
Scott.
think I confused the issue by getting low and high barrier confused.
Well, you're retiring, and I haven't given you a hard time, so this was my opportunity. And we can
Yes.
talk about overfishing sometime.
All right.
Sam, I know Sam, you had your hand up there during that. You have a question?
I was just more if the committee allowed, or if you allowed specifically, Chair. I was gonna just ask Ellis. I saw Ellis Ziegler was still online. If there was any points that they would like to clarify, just in case.
Okay.
I was just wondering if we could have maybe the committee allow that. I know we don't tend to, but
Yes. Sam, maybe I wasn't listening properly. Do you suggesting that did he come on and just clarify anything, or only if we have a question?
Just if Brian needed, or sorry, Councillor Calver needed a more clarification specifically on his question, was more of what I was thinking. But if Councillor Calver's all good now, then
Yep, no, I'm all good.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
That was just my suggestion. If we had the people there,
Yep.
Why not use them?
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Sam. Something else I had just noticed here on the screen, and I'm not sure, to me it's been up. Pam Kent, it looks like you have a hand up here, and I don't know how long that's been up. It could have been up there from the start of the meeting. Is it something that you're asking about this agenda item, or quite some time ago?
I didn't realize my hand was up, so I apologize for that.
Well, I see a hand.
I don't have a question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so any other questions on this item agenda? I don't see that. So we have a staff recommendation to note and receive this report from Scott. We have a mover. Moved by Sam, seconded by Brad. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So the next item here is item 8, air conditioning and local housing units, and it's Scott.
All right. Thank you. So last spring, we let tenants know that this summer we'd be changing our air conditioner policy. We have a number of tenants that put in window air conditioners, and never happened in the Palace area, but in Toronto, unfortunately, in community housing, some air conditioners fell out of windows and hit people and hit other things and created a safety issue. Our insurance company asked us to eliminate some window air conditioners, and we've done that. We have some buildings like 113 West Mary in Picton, Lake Street in Picton, and Jubilee Court in our on Camden Court or Road in Napanee. And those units have a little specific sleeve for window air conditioner to go, so people can still use those. But we're asking other people to put in like a portable air conditioners, the ones that's like about the size of a dehumidifier, and a little thing fits in the window to exhaust the warm air. So we let people know we were going to do that last spring. And to the credit of tenants, and much to my surprise, most people were able to obtain new air conditioners. And I've heard stories about people asking for air conditioners for Christmas, or for their birthday, or for their birthday and Christmas from their wealthier siblings or parents. Can you get me one of these air conditioners? And they did. No surprise, some of our tenants were not able to, either financially, or there's just like, if you can picture some of our tenants, an elderly person who has COPD, heavily medicated, lives alone and in a wheelchair. Their ability to get out to Walmart and buy an air conditioner is really limited. And some of these people have serious medical conditions that would be made much worse without air conditioning. So we thought, what can we do for these folks? So this is almost like a loan program where we can provide them with an air conditioner, and then they can pay us back like over a year or so. And it just allows them, and it allows us not to just make more people comfortable. I don't want to be over dramatic, but it's possibly saving lives of somebody who's, in a unit that's 35 degrees or whatever. So I actually thought when I came here, I'd be coming to you like, so we've got 100 tenants that didn't get these air conditioners. And right now it's estimated that we'll have 10. So just in case, I'm asking for funding for 20, but what will happen is this money, as we collect it, it will be put into a fund and we can redirect that funding at a later time. And just so you know, will we get all this money back? Probably not. Will we get most of it back? Yeah, we will. So there'll be some people where they just struggle, or maybe some people that move out and would before they pay all this off. But I think it's a worthy population. It's kind of our neediest population of tenants that we have.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Go ahead, Brian.
Now with these new air conditioners, Scott, do we actually provide somebody to help install them, put them in properly, or do we just drop it off and say, here you go?
We do install them with the new ones people are getting. We have people that are just like, they can't figure out the instructions. We have people who are unable to read the instructions. So they've asked our property services. I talked to property services as much. They were like, hey, well, I don't know if I want to be doing this, but they were helping people install their window air conditioners to make sure they were installed safely. And these take about 1/10 of the time and to do it right. And also, if we install them, we can make sure they're running as energy efficiently as possible. And in fact, any that we see that are installed improperly, because you can tell pretty easily, just knock on their door and say, hey, do you want us to fix that?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Great.
Because they do work well, but they are a little different than a window shaker. They're just not plug, play, and forget. So
yeah, and
excellent.
We should see a reduction in energy costs related to air conditioners, because a brand new portable air conditioner will be much more energy efficient than a 30-year-old window shaker for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Scott on this item? I don't see any, so we have a staff recommendation that this report be noted and received. We have a mover. Moved by Brad, seconded by Sam. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Is that your last item on this agenda item?
This is the last time you have to listen to this raspy voice. There you go.
Well, from my perspective, that's not a good thing. A good thing for you, but you will be missed.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone. It's been great working with you.
Yeah, it's been great working with you too, Scott. And like I say, the fishing invitation is always open. My boat's ready to go anytime.
Back to Deer
Thanks,
Rock.
Scott.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Next item on the agenda, number 9, is emergency management and Palace role in emergency management. Lynn, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. So single and lower tier municipalities act as the lead authorities during a municipal emergency, and they are responsible for declaring and managing the emergency, coordinating local response efforts, activating the emergency social services when required, and engaging partners through memorandums of understanding or establishing partnerships, agreements, sorry. Um, Municipalities often possess the infrastructure and logistical capacity needed to support emergency operations, and it's an important role, um, referring to emergency social services, and it refers to the support of individuals with emergency shelter and lodging, food, hydration, clothing and personal supplies, registration and inquiry services, psychosocial support, and transportation assistance. So our role supports member municipalities, but it has limited staffing capacity and cannot independently staff or manage an emergency response. So instead, Pellis's role is supportive and situational, really depending on what the situation is. And we can be called upon when there's emergencies involving buildings owned or operated by Pellis, as we have the direct knowledge of tenants and can provide the tailored support that they need. And this has been done several times in the past. Pellis may be able to assist with staffing reception centers when activated, and depending on available capacity. However, there are third parties such as the Red Cross can be in place to ensure support as well. And if individuals are eligible financial supports through Pellis, which would generally be the emergency assistance through the Ontario Works program, we can access these supports as well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that committee may have.
Yes, go ahead, Sam.
Yes, so I actually sit on our emergency management committee, so this is a great conversation to have and very timely. One question that we personally through Prince Edward County, I don't know, do we have direct like physical phone, like a phone numbers log of everybody that we would need to reach with at Pellis and buildings and super like everything we possibly could use? Because I don't believe we have. And is that something Pellis provides?
Like phone contact information?
Yeah, but like in physical form. So like if there was like power down or our system got hacked was one of our case studies. We're trying
Yeah,
to create physical logs.
probably not. We can provide that to you though. I would be the first phone call, and then the managers would then reach out to whoever is available and can attend some kind of an emergency. So we can definitely provide the main contact information for Prince Edward County.
Yeah, I just think that would be like that would be great, or to provide the municipalities with like what services, so like what specifically when you said like there's certain funds available that you can reach out and apply, just so that we know like in this case of situation this would be the case that like to reach these guidelines, um then we know when to reach out to you kind of thing, or when to reach out for those funds, and when to move forward, just so that we have like one thing that we were talking about is that we don't have great physical binders and physical information systems to move through the proper procedures, especially if our municipality is hacked or loses power. So that is one thing, like just to have written out in that anybody, if there is a transfer of like in a case of emergency, if there's a fire or anything like that, or a large pandemic, that we have the ability to not like for clean communication flow to keep everything going.
Yeah.
So any way that Pellis might be able to like write out a dummy copy of what you can provide and the different numbers, we would greatly appreciate. And if it's none to need them too, that was just a big hole that we found through our emergency plan and we're trying to rectify right now.
Certainly
Maybe I
we
should
could
be
put
saying this
something
out loud.
together. Yeah, certainly we can put something together to provide you with that information and the services that we're able to offer.
Perfect. Because I just think that, you know, it's always that thing that you kind of glance over, but then
Yeah.
when an emergency happens, it's just nice to have. So deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions for Lynn? No, I know that I'm also part of on our emergency committee for our municipality, and we often have discussions. I know that you're talking about that, Sam. We do have a physical, like a hard copy list of everything. So yeah. When an emergency happens, you don't know who you need until it occurs, right? So it's kind of a dynamic thing, and then you're always on a scramble you never have enough help. That's the biggest thing, to look after. Certainly, if you had to open up a shelter or something like that, it takes a lot of help. Anyway, okay. I don't see any other questions for Lynn on this one. So we have a recommendation here to note and receive this report. We have a mover for that. Sam, seconded by Brian. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn, for that presentation. Appreciated. We'll move on now to item 10, CWELCC Directed Growth Targets. And Pam, this is
Great.
Turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, through the chair. So this is just an updated report from the last meeting where we brought forth the recalibrated number of 1,224 spaces for our region. And based on our commitments currently, we have 1,104 center-based spaces committed. Most of them have been created or in process of being created. And at the end of December of 2025, we had 77 home childcare enrollment spaces. So that leaves us with 43 spaces to meet our target by the end of 2026. Out of those 43 spaces, you'll see in the report that the majority of them had already been committed to both our 2 home childcare agencies, 1 in each county. However, the growth in home childcare hasn't been as great as we had hoped, because unfortunately home childcare is one of those things that's very fluid. So you might open a new home, but another one might close. So the numbers are constantly readjusting. And so like the ministry, when they recalibrated across the province in order to meet the target, I'm looking to do the same thing locally. And I have talked to both home childcare agencies because they have identified that they're not sure they could meet the original target they had hoped for. And so I'm just looking for committee's approval to go ahead and do that and to reallocate as necessary to make sure we meet our spaces, because we don't want to lose any spaces in our community. And so some of the potential opportunities is that in Prince Edward County, there's a new before and after school program that's going to be opening at Athol. And an expression of interest went out from the school board, and the hub is the successful proponent. And without the reallocation, we wouldn't be able to offer any affordable Seawalk spaces because our spaces were already committed. But shifting the home childcare spaces that we don't think we're going to be able to achieve to Athol would allow us to then offer those affordable spaces at that program. And then similarly in Lennox and Addington, shifting some of those home childcare, although nothing's confirmed in LNA, we don't have any specific program, but there are some potentials of other before and afters as well. We've had another home childcare agency outside of our community suggesting that they have capacity and would like to open some homes, so we can explore that further. And as well as an existing for-profit center in Napanee that has 18 spaces. So there's some opportunities for us to explore. And then there's kind of 7 spaces that weren't really committed. And one of those spaces will be needed to support Athol because there will be 13 spaces there. The remaining 6 will kind of be fluid. We'll kind of use them because if home childcare can open another one, then we'd have those available. So anyways, that's just a recap of where we're currently at, and then just looking for your approval for us to make those decisions to move spaces as needed to make sure we maximize our allocation. Happy to answer questions you may have.
Think about any questions for Pam? I don't see any. Yeah, certainly, Pam. Yeah, obviously we all agree with you. We don't want to lose any of these spaces. I mean, if there's any way we can get them all filled, that's the target. So thank you. We have A staff recommendation here that the report be noted and received, and that Appellate Committee approves staff to reallocate spaces to ensure targets are met. You have a mover. Moved by Brad, seconded by Sam. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, and thanks very much, Pam, for that report. We move on to now we're on to item 11, which is innovation and ECE promotion funding. Pam.
Great. Thanks, through Chair. So again, this is just another update from the previous meeting. We had just briefly identified that there was 2 new funding streams and that we were consulting with our community on those initiatives. And so this is an update of kind of what we've heard and where we're looking to move forward. So the Innovation Fund was a proposal we had to submit to the ministry last fall, I believe it was. And then, so they've approved these initiatives. So although we have flexibility to spend money to move it between initiatives, we can't add new initiatives without going back to the ministry. But some of the projects that we put forth based on the recommendations from our stakeholders, one was called an Ease into ECE project, although it may be called different things in different communities. But essentially, we're working with Prince Edward Learning Center and Kingston Literacy and Skills to develop a 10-week program that kind of gives folks who might want to consider working with children and to have a 10-week program to kind of introduce them to what that looks like, and then provide them with some placement opportunities with the hope to encourage more folks to join the workforce. So we're excited about that program. Stepping Side by Side is a mentoring self-guided platform that we had purchased with other one-time funding back in 2024. So we're looking to enhance that based on sector feedback of what other training and ideas that they would like for professional learning. And then our workforce grant is to support, so the province has funding available for individuals who are looking to upgrade and receive their ECE diploma. Should the program, should they be denied for the program because either the funding has already been allocated through the province or they don't meet the criteria, such as for some of the criteria, you have to be working in the sector for 6 months as a minimum to qualify. And so if they don't qualify through the provincial grant, then we would look to offer a workforce grant to help support them to achieve their REC, or sorry, their ECE diploma. And then the operational grant, so when staff have to, as part of attaining their ECE, they have to do placements and often outside of their workplace. And so this operational grant would help to support those centers with the backfill cost while staff are doing their placements. And then lastly, other municipalities have engaged with the local colleges to look at a scholarship opportunity. And so although our community has identified that kind of as our last priority, it's certainly something that we would be looking to potentially do if we didn't utilize all of our funds in those other initiatives. And that would be to provide scholarships for those who are completing their ECE at the local colleges and then going to be working in either Prince Edward or Lennox and Addington County as a way to encourage them to work in our community. And then the ECE promotional fund is around marketing and promotion of the sector. And I believe it may be in a couple of meetings ago, I had shared that we were looking at service managers across the province. We're looking at a collective marketing strategy because we feel that this would be the most beneficial to increase and raise the value and of the sector, of the profession. And so we are looking to contribute each service manager to contribute up to 50% of our allocation to that promotion, which our community supports. And then we're going to, with the balance, look at other things such as social media, content, video, testimonials, doing some presentations to high schools, things like that, slogans, brands. So just wanted to basically share where we landed and what feedback we got from the sector on how to utilize these funds, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Pam. Yes, the funds go to a lot of different areas to help people in many different ways. Yeah, this is great. So, any questions for Pam? See anything? So we have a staff recommendation to that the report be noted and received. We have a mover. Brad, seconded by Brian. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And thank you, Pam, for the report.
Thank you.
Move on to item 11 oops. No, we're not. We were there, so. We're on to performance metrics, matters for information, from Liam. There
Thank
you
you,
are,
and
Liam.
thank you,
Go
and through you,
ahead.
Chair. I do want to just briefly highlight that at the time of writing this report, the HP allocation had not yet been received. So now that the allocation has been received, the performance metrics will be updated accordingly to reflect proceeding investment plans and budgets. So that way the data is up to date in there. Furthermore, I do want to highlight that as committee's previous inquiries, the performance metrics interface has been updated in hopes of a better filtering experience for committee and the public, where the data is able to be separated by Prince Edward and Lennox and Addington. I'm happy to answer any questions that committee may have at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for Liam? No. See any questions there, Liam? So we have a staff recommendation that the report be noted and received. We have a mover. So with that. Oh, Sam, seconded by Brian. All in favor? That motion is carried. And our last item on the agenda is Brad, did you want to bring something up?
Well, no, I was just gonna. I'll wait until after the last item. I just want to comment at the end.
Okay, that's good. So we have a motion to. You want to say that before we adjourn?
Yes, please. I would
Go
like
ahead.
to say
Yeah, go ahead.
it looked like I wasn't paying attention, but I'm down to reading the agenda off my phone. So it just. I apologize if I looked like I wasn't attending, and I just wanted to say, Scott, thanks for your service, and it was good working with you.
Thank you. It was great working with all of you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Did we already vote on that? I can't even remember.
We just need a motion to adjourn, Tony.
We just need that. Yes. Thank you. So we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Sam, seconded by Brian. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. It's